Well, good morning, you guys, and welcome back to Kids Zone. I am so glad that you are here with me today. We are going to cover the story of Jesus' most famous teaching, and in the Bible, it's called the Sermon on the Mount. Now, on this day, all of the people listening to Jesus had never heard anything like this from the religious leaders when they talked about God. Those people always talked about what rules and laws they had to follow, the do's and the don'ts of what it meant to honor God. Well, wherever Jesus went, lots of people went with him too. They loved being near him. Old people, young people, sick people, well people, happy people, sad people, and worried people. A lot of people were worried about a lot of things. Things like, what if I don't have enough food or clothes? And what if we run out of money or don't have a place to live? What if there isn't enough? And what if everything goes wrong? And what if it won't be all right? What then? I'm sure some of us can relate to that, being worried about many things. Well, when Jesus saw all the people, his heart was filled with love for them. To him, they were like a flock of sheep that didn't have a shepherd to take care of them. So Jesus sat them down on this beautiful hillside to talk to them. From where they sat, they could see the blue lake glittering below them and fishing boats coming and going. It was a clean spring sort of day. And Jesus points out to them. He says, "See those birds over there?" Everyone looks. And of course, there's these little sparrows and birds pecking at the seeds along a stony path, looking for something to eat. And Jesus asked them, where do they get their food? Do they store it up like in a pantry, or do they have cabinets full of food? Well, of course, everyone laughs because that's silly. Who's ever seen a bird with a bag of groceries or a full pantry? Well, Jesus said to them, no, they don't need to worry about that. They don't need to worry about storing their food because God knows what they need and he feeds them every single day. And he continued by pointing out the flowers. He says, what about these wildflowers? And again, everyone looks, and all around them on this hillside, there's all these colorful little flowers. And Jesus says, where do they get their lovely clothes from? Their beautiful colors. Do they make them, or do they go to work every day so they can buy them? Do they have closets full of clothes? Well, again, that's a silly idea. Everybody laughs. Who's seen a flower ever putting on a dress? No, Jesus said to them, they don't need to worry about that because God clothes them in the most beautiful colors, the most beautiful clothing. Not even a king is that well dressed. Well, these people, they had never met a king. They weren't famous enough or rich enough. But as they looked out over the lake and the hillside and they were seeing all these beautiful colors and the birds finding their food, they felt a great burden lift from their hearts. They could not imagine anything more beautiful. So Jesus said, little flock, you are more important than the birds, more important than the flowers. The birds and the flowers don't sit and worry about what they need. God loves to look after the birds and the flowers, and even more, he loves to look after you too. Jesus knew that God would always love and watch over the world he had made, everything in it, birds and flowers and trees and animals, and most importantly, all of his children. Even though people had forgotten, the birds and the flowers and the animals, they hadn't forgotten. They still knew their song. It was the song all of God's creation had sung to him from the very beginning. It was the song people's hearts, our hearts, were made to sing. God made us. He loves us. He's very pleased with us. It's why Jesus had come into the world to sing to them and to us that wonderful song, to sing it not only with his voice and his words, but with his whole life, the way he lived, so that God's children could remember and join in with him and sing it too. We'll take some time today with the discussion questions, and I'll see you next week.